Okay, so we are live on Facebook now, Andrea.
Wonderful. I want to thank everyone, first of all, for your patience. I really appreciate everyone being here tonight. I'm really excited to bring this message to you. I think a lot of you guys kind of know what NRF2 is. I've been talking about it now for about a year and a half, but just little pieces here and there, because while it's so complicated and scientists are studying this and doctors can't get enough of this, it's also really a very simple process. So we've been sharing it for about a year and a half, a little bit of time. And tonight I wanted to take the opportunity to just kind of unveil it and give you all a full-on presentation of what NRF2 is and the ability that our body has. Like, it's amazing, the immune system and the ability the body has to heal itself. And so we've tapped into what is a natural medical breakthrough, and we're going to bring it to you tonight. I'm bringing my friend Sam on. We work really closely together, but Sam's actually been doing this for 7 years now, Sam? Like 7 years, right? And she's a former Marine officer. She's fully doing this full time now with her husband, who's a former Navy helicopter pilot. And they've been helping literally thousands of people get their health back. And now they do it full time from home, which is really exciting. But she has seen so much. So there's nothing, I don't know, like the more we see and the more we see, the more we know what the body is capable of. And so everything we hear out there in the world that's confusing us, that's scaring us, that's limiting us, it doesn't really do anything to us. So with that, I'd love to have Sam kind of begin the presentation. We want to be mindful of everyone's time and kind of keep it to maybe about half an hour here.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Andrea. I'm just going to go ahead and pull up the presentation here. And again, just hoping that our technical challenges are limited and not going to overrule this thing tonight.
I think I already got that out of the way.
Oh, good. Okay, let me go ahead and share the screen then, and just give me a thumbs up whenever you see it.
Sounds good. I'm going to pull it here too. Wonderful. We got it.
Okay, awesome. Well, let's see. Guys, I'm so excited to be here tonight. Thanks. Can you see it okay?
Yep.
Okay. Andrea, thanks so much for having me. And I know that there are such amazing people on this presentation, whether you're watching directly from Zoom with us or if you're watching it from the event page on Facebook or catching it later on the replay. We really feel like this information is so critical for these times that we're living in now more than ever. And so I know Andrea has been sharing this message with a lot of you, and some know a little bit about it, some know more, some are already taking these products and understanding the benefits. But we kind of wanted to, get a little bit deeper tonight and share with you guys like how it is that the body is capable of winning this war against this toxic world that we live in. Because I don't think it's any secret that we are living in an increasingly more toxic world. So tonight we're going to talk about unveiling the power of Nrf2 activation and even more. And this is all about activation, not supplementation. So we're all very used to the common idea of just supplementing and taking vitamins and doing all of that, type of approach to our health. But what we're going to talk to you guys about tonight is actually flipping the switch, allowing your own body, your own genes to get to work for themselves in a natural way. And so what I want to start with is, the question of why do you think it is that we feel so off? Why do we feel so unhealthy and unwell in such a modern time? We live in 2020, where we have greater access to information than ever before. We have greater access to medical research and medical advancements than ever before. We are just in an era where everything is so ahead, top notch. But the one thing that seems to be not going in the right direction, well, at least one thing, I know there might be a few things not going in the right direction by a lot of our standards, but one thing that is really happening is our health is declining. And you see it, people younger and younger are just not feeling well. They are either walking around with aches and pains rather prematurely, rather young, at young ages when you wouldn't expect to have things like arthritis yet. Our children are being affected with things like crazy allergies and sickness and illness and just, diagnosis after diagnosis all across the board. Our children, a lot of us are we're foggy, we're tired, we're just not feeling well, right? We're not feeling our best. And I just would ask you, why? Shouldn't we be better than ever in such a modern era where we have all the resources that we could possibly want right at our fingertips? And the reason, you guys, is really because we are being hijacked. We're being hijacked by the very world and environment that we live in. For decades now, we have become a society that eats fake food. We eat processed foods. And we are not allowing our bodies to get the real nutrition that they crave and need to thrive. And even if you're committed to natural, organic, whole food living, it's very likely that your parents, your grandparents were not. And so they pass that along to you in the DNA, and your genes are compromised because of that. At the same time, even if you're convinced that you have good nutrition, we have things like our electronic devices that we love and give us so many conveniences in this world, like our iPhones and all the computers and the Wi-Fi everywhere. But it comes at a toll on our bodies. The EMFs that those technologies are emitting are causing damage to every cell of our body and causing our bodies to break down. Furthermore, if you look at the crops throughout the USA and now more and more throughout the world, they are littered with herbicides and pesticides that are seeping into every part of our produce. It's actually depleting the nutrients in the soil that all of our crops are being grown in. So even our good, vegetables and our whole foods, even those are becoming nutrient depleted. And so the last thing is, if you feel like, okay, I eat super well, I avoid all the, all the gadgets as much as possible, I've removed all the toxins from my home, there's something that you absolutely cannot avoid, and it's air pollution. And that happens from, factories, from the cars that we drive, from the airplanes that fly by, from just so many different things that are entering our environment that we cannot avoid. And you have to breathe in that oxygen. But that is causing a major toll on all of our bodies, whether we can see it immediately or not. And actually, I love this picture of an apple cut open, because this is so visual. It helps us to understand what happens when oxidation occurs. When you cut an apple and you put it out on the counter, after about 30 minutes, it's going to turn brown. And it's because that the molecules of that apple are breaking down as it's oxidizing. It's literally being exposed to oxygen, and the molecules are breaking down and it's turning brown. The same thing is happening, you guys, with us, with our bodies. We are literally rusting from the inside out because of that toxic load I just talked about. It's called oxidative stress. It's when your body is overrun with free radical damage and your body just can't get rid of it. So it rusts, and it leads to different malfunctions in the body. Over 200 diseases start with oxidative stress. Also just generally not feeling well, not being able to recover as fast. Things that we see associated with aging. Oxidative stress is at the root of all age-related issues. And so it makes a whole lot of sense, what's kind of plaguing us. The question is, what is the approach? What do we do about it? So what I know Andrea really wanted us to share tonight, and just real quick, if anybody wants to go kind of like fact check along the way or after this presentation, go to pubmed.gov. That's the National Institute of Health's database for peer-reviewed research. And you can type in oxidative stress, or really any of the terms that I share tonight, and you can go check it out. Oxidative stress, as you see, there's over 200,000 studies on this area alone, and it's showing you that it's linked to just about everything that you do not want in your body. So if you have something that you and your family are dealing with, a certain issue that you guys deal with maybe, or something that's near and dear to you, go type in oxidative stress and that issue and see how they're related. But what I know Andrea wanted us to share is a little bit about the story of the company that we are representing, LifeVantage. And LifeVantage is the developer of this nutrigenomic product line, founded primarily on one product, our little yellow pill Protandim, which we're going to talk a lot more about. But the story of this company is so exciting and so different and unique, because this is now, I'm sure you could recognize that this model of business is MLM, direct sales network marketing model today. But it didn't start out that way. It started out as a biotech company, research and development company out of Denver, Colorado. And it was in 2003 that this little biotech company, led by their lead scientist, Dr. Joe McCord, who is a world-renowned scientist in the study of free radical biology. He actually has received, he's the recipient, the most recent recipient of the Elliott Crescent Medal, which is the highest award given by the Franklin Institute for advancements in science and research and just revolutionary ideas. So he is in the same company. The founder of this product is in the same company for his discoveries as Henry Ford, Nikola Tesla, Marie Curie, people who have been renowned for their advancements and their breakthroughs in history. So in 2003, when Dr. McCord led his team of scientists in this biotech company to basically look for a way to scavenge free radicals in the body. He knew that free radicals is what was causing our bodies to break down, leading to this oxidative stress, leading to every sort of malfunction that you could think of. And he knew that there were certain enzymes already existing in our body that if we could kind of unleash them, that they would go scavenge that free radical damage and then bring down the oxidative stress. So in 2003, they put together 5 herbs: green tea, turmeric, milk thistle, bacopa, and ashwagandha. And when they put those 5 herbs together in a very specific formula, at a very specific recipe, they found something astonishing happen in the body. In whether you were 20 years old or 80 years old, that's what they did the first clinical study on, was a sampling of people from 20 to 80 years old. They found that after 30 days of taking this little yellow pill, this little herbal formula, that the oxidative stress came down by 40% in everybody after 30 days. And so that was such an astounding claim, not only in 2003, but still today. There's nothing else that has ever been able to make a claim like that. So it led to a lot of investigation, a lot of research, and primarily ABC Primetime News in 2005 came knocking on the door of this company, LifeVantage, again, biotech company at the time. And they said, we're coming to investigate because this sounds a little too good to be true. There's not, to our knowledge, any pharmaceutical on the planet or any herbal product that can do what you're saying this product does. And so they sent John Quinones, some of you guys may recognize him from television, into the lab. And they had his oxidative stress measured. There's a test that you can measure that in the blood. And they did it before taking Protandim. And then they sent him back after only 14 days. Now, they were supposed to do 30 because the study says reduction of 40% oxidative stress in 30 days, but they were trying to make some good television. And so they sent him back in 14 days. And guess what? His oxidative stress levels on national television came down by 45% after just 14 days, taking this one little yellow pill a day for 14 days. And so that led to a flurry of people saying, what is this? Like, we need this product. You just told us it's just a couple of herbs. It reduces basically the underlying cause of all the malfunctions in the body. And, it's not a drug. Like, we want this. So people called directly into LifeVantage and tried to order it that way. But they weren't really set up in a marketing or a sales force. They had no infrastructure for that. So LifeVantage had to decide, what do we do with this product that seems to be this huge, almost, accidental breakthrough? They really didn't expect that it would be this significant of a result when they put those herbs together. So for a couple years, they just kind of tried to sell it on shelves of places like GNC and Vitamin Shop, because again, it's not a pharmaceutical, so you're not going to sell it through pharmaceutical reps to your doctors. That's not the way that herbal products work. But at the same time, it was much more than your typical vitamin C. So now you have this $50 bottle of Protandim, which is this Nrf2 activator, next to a $10, $12 bottle of vitamin C, and people just were scratching their heads. They didn't understand the value of what this was. So it was in 2009 that LifeVantage decided that the best strategy, and just so you know, this was a publicly traded biotech company. So they wanted to get this out to the people, and they got together with the board of directors and said, what is the best vehicle to take a product like this? And they determined that it actually was through peer-to-peer distribution, network marketing, MLM, direct sales, having one person talk to another person who talks to another person, who shares their experience, who shares their education, who shares, all that they know about this with another person. And that was the right decision, because in 2009, LifeVantage basically sold that one little bottle, that $50 product, for the next 4 years and went to 200 million in yearly sales. So it just goes to show how powerful this product is alone. And we're going to get into a little bit more of that, but I wanted you guys to understand the story of, one, why you're hearing this from us, some moms, we are wellness advocates, we are truth seekers, we believe in doing things as naturally as possible and getting the most effectiveness in our health. And so that's the reason that we, Andrea and I, are sharing this with you, is because this is a message that everybody should have the right to understand. And so we tell it from one person to another. The product specifically that we're talking about is Protandim Nrf2. And as you can see, guys, it's just those 5 herbs: that turmeric, milk thistle, green tea, bacopa, and ashwagandha. And what it does, like I said, it reduces oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. It also significantly reduces cellular stress, and it actually allows the enzymes in your body, your antioxidant enzymes, to neutralize free radicals at a million to 1 ratio. What we're customarily used to is supplementation, like vitamin C or blueberries, and that only does it on a 1-to-1 scale. So this is just like a quantum leap in effectiveness. Rather than supplementing, you're now activating your own body, your own genes, to do the work itself. It helps to regulate survival genes, and it supports your ability to basically repair and rejuvenate your own cells. The other thing is that it's majorly effective for detoxifying genes, and it allows your cells, every cell of your body, to just function better. And so, and Andrea, if you want to ever jump in or give me any, if you have anything else that you want to add, just go ahead and stop me. But I just wanted to say that one of the other significant things that came out of that, that ABC News report, was that other universities picked up on this, and they said, wow, that product right there reduces oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. We need to study it in our labs. So LSU called LifeVantage and said, we need to study this with melanoma, because we know that oxidative stress is highly linked to melanoma. So we want to study your bottle of Protandim. And that's what they did. So they funded and launched their own study on Protandim. Ohio State University and Harvard and Texas Tech, they all were very interested in the study of oxidative stress with regard to the heart, and then specifically the repairing of arteries. And so they funded their own studies on Protandim right then and there. And then there's the Mayo Clinic and the American Heart Association and Colorado State University and many, many more that have now studied or funded and studied Protandim. And it's now published, Protandim is published 26 times at PubMed.gov. So that's the National Institute of Health. That's where I was talking to go fact check me if you want to go fact check any of this. And guys, the significance of that, let me go to that slide where you can see where that is. I think I have it on here. Maybe not. Now you're getting to see it all. Nope. Okay, I don't have that one. But if you just go back to PubMed.gov and you type in Protandim, you're going to see that the results are 26 independent peer-reviewed studies from all those places that I just listed. And the significance of that is that herbal products do not get published at PubMed. That's a place where typically only pharmaceutical drugs actually get peer-reviewed study published, because the funding is usually coming from the drug companies, and most drug companies do not want to fund things that are not their own product, right? So it's just so validating and interesting that places like LSU and Harvard and Texas Tech and American Heart Association, why would they spend their money on some herbal pill? Obviously, they thought there was something significant. So if you are a science geek and you like to read research, by all means, go to PubMed.gov, type in Protandim and you can read those 26 studies. Each of them is fascinating. The results of what lowering oxidative stress does in the body with different, with regard to different malfunctions is fascinating. And so I just put that out there just so you guys can understand how this is different and unique from your standard supplements and herbal products that may have good testimonies, but they don't always have the specific empirical data. They don't have independent research, and they don't have just like that backing of science to understand why they might be working. So, traditionally, there have been a few solutions for oxidative stress. I kind of touched on this, mainly direct antioxidants, right? So things like eating your blueberries and eating your colorful vegetables, taking your vitamin C tablet or your vitamin E, those are all considered direct antioxidants. And that means that what they do is they neutralize free radicals 1-to-1. You eat a blueberry, 1 free radical gone. You take 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, you get 1,000 free radicals blown away, right? The only issue with that is we have trillions upon trillions upon trillions of free radicals, and that number is ever increasing with the more toxic load we add to our environment, bombarding our cells every second of the day. So do you think that it really would be effective to just have that 1-to-1 strategy where you're getting rid of a free radical here and a free radical there? It's kind of like, guys, if your house was on fire right now and you went and got a little Dixie cup of water and kept filling it up and tried to actually put the fire out, you're not going to do anything. Your house will burn down before you could ever extinguish that fire. However, if you could flip a switch in your house and turn on a sprinkler system throughout the whole house, or if you could make a phone call and send the fire department into your house with fire hoses throughout the entire house, you would be able to squelch that fire and take care of that problem. Same thing if you can flip the switch inside of your own DNA and allow your own genes to naturally take care of the problem and squelch that fire. So that's what the Nrf2 pathway is. It's a protein that is existent in every cell of your body. And if you can just flip the switch and allow it to work the way it was intended to, the way God designed our body before it became overrun by the toxic load, then your body now eliminates free radicals at 1,000,000-to-1 ratio. So it's literally like just dousing that house fire with water rather than the Dixie cup method. It does it specifically by turning on key genes and enzymes in your body. Specifically, some of the biggest antioxidant enzymes that we have in our body: catalase, SOD, and glutathione. Now, I know a lot of people know about glutathione. It's a hot topic. It's a buzzword right now, and it's because it's the master antioxidant enzyme in our body. Andrea, did you want to talk a little bit about that with glutathione real quick, and then we'll come back?
Yeah, because I think a lot of people on this call. Am I muted, Sam?
You're good.
Okay. A lot of people on this call, we've been listening to all these doctors who have been coming out of the woodworks and kind of questioning the narrative that we're getting from the media, from the media with what we need to do in regards to our health, which is basically stay in our homes and hide, or get these ventilators, or do whatever crazy things to our body. And more doctors are coming out of the woodwork, these natural-minded doctors who really understand the ability of the body and the God-given immune system that each one of us have. And something you're going to keep hearing again and again and again is people like Dr. Ben Lynch keeps talking about, and check him out on YouTube, guys. He's fantastic. He talks about glutathione, I think, every single day. He's like, you guys, you need to boost your body's natural production of glutathione. But what I find fascinating is, even though they're recommending glutathione and pumping up your glutathione, this is something your body can naturally do, but it's depleted because of these same these same free radicals, these same toxins that we're bombarded with daily, as well as just aging. And so what's so fascinating is they are actually recommending like a supplementation. But again, supplements are like throwing Dixie cups of water at a house fire, where if you can turn on your body to create it, it increases it quantumly. So when you take Protandim Nrf2, you're actually increasing your body's own natural production of glutathione by 300%. And what's so fascinating about this amazing little pill is we believe it's God's gift for our time. It really is. It turns on the body that God created in a way that we had no idea what the body was capable of. So I love that.
Yeah.
And then this study, do you want to go into this one?
Sure. Yeah. Again, as you talk with people who have been experiencing activation for some time, maybe a couple months, maybe a couple years, like me, 7 years now I've been activated. So grateful for that. You're going to hear people's experiences, and you're going to, notice some key themes that a lot of people experience. Things like better clarity, just better focus, better sleep, better recovery, just faster recovery, just generally feeling better, feeling like the fog has been lifted, feel like the heaviness has been lifted. And for some people, who are struggling with more severe issues, their stories might even be a lot more dramatic. It all depends. Everybody's body is so unique, and what they're dealing with internally, only your body and only your genes really know. We can kind of guess from the outside and from taking little tests. But the thing that I love about Protandim is that you can talk to people and get their experience, and you can hear their story, and they're amazing. I mean, I've literally, my husband and I for 7 years have had the blessing of helping thousands of people regain their health with this strategy. And it never gets old. But the thing that I can rest on, the reason that I feel so confident sharing this with every single person is because of the science that validates it. It's because there's empirical data that shows what it's actually doing. We're not guessing here. We're not saying, well, we know these are some good herbs, and we think that they might be good for your immune system. We think they might be good for your brain function. So see how it goes. No. We know that at the end of 30 days, your oxidative stress will come down by 40%. Actually, that same study, which you can go check PubMed, also says that after 120 days, oxidative stress comes down by 70%. So it actually has a cumulative benefit over time. And then this is one that I love with regard to glutathione, because Andrea just talked about how people understand the importance of glutathione. They understand that it plays a significant role in, neurodegeneration. So a lot of issues dealing with the brain. People understand in the athletic world that glutathione is so necessary for recovery and muscle repair. People in the fitness world also understand that it's a great part of your metabolism and your functioning of just your body's healthy system. But the thing that is so remarkable is that if you're just taking the supplements of glutathione, that's a synthetic compound. So your body doesn't recognize a synthetic version of its own molecule as much as it does its own. Same thing with people trying to do glutathione injections. They do have some positive results right off the bat, but your body, that's not the way your body was intended to function, through injections, through forced process. What happens here with Protandim is those 5 herbs together, they flip that switch on the Nrf2 pathway, and that Nrf2 pathway activates your glutathione enzyme, and it actually allows your body to start producing 300% more glutathione naturally. Guys, that is the way you want to work with science, but also with nature. And so that's what I love, is this is a great combination of herbs and what God gave us on this planet with science, with real, scientific data coming together and having this incredible effectiveness. And it's proven with empirical data. So one other thing I want to show with regard to that is the synergy of the 5 herbs themselves, because sometimes when people take a look at the 5 herbs, they say, oh, turmeric is in Protandim and milk thistle. Well, I already take those because I know that turmeric's great for inflammation, and I know milk thistle is a great liver cleanser, and that's true. Some people say, I already drink green tea, so I probably don't need this. Well, what this peer-reviewed study, again, you can check this one on pubmed.gov, what this shows is that when they took each of those 5 ingredients of Protandim individually, they found that they basically had a negligible response. They actually did almost nothing on their own. But when they put them together in the exact formula, which is actually patented 10 different times with Protandim, when they took that formula, they noticed that there was an 18-fold effectiveness. So if you were taking a turmeric supplement right now, for that reason alone, it would be more prudent to take Protandim, because you're going to get 18 times more effectiveness in what you're trying to accomplish with turmeric. Same thing with the green tea, same thing with the milk thistle. So it's really amazing that the synergy, and for those who are not as scientific minded, I always like to give a little bit of an analogy. If you took, maybe some oil and some flour and some sugar, you could take a spoonful of each of those and taste them individually. But that doesn't make a cake in your mouth. You have to follow a specific recipe of the right amount of oil, the right amount of eggs, the right amount of sugar and flour at a specific, ratio, a specific temperature for a specific amount of time for you to have a cake. And that's what baking is. It's chemistry and it's synergy. And so that's the same thing that's happening here with Protandim. So taking those extracts individually does not accomplish the same thing. Let's see. So I just wanted to highlight a couple of the things that Nrf2 is being talked about in some of the research. This one is from Oregon State University, and it says, when it finds a problem, Nrf2 essentially goes back to the cellular nucleus and rings the alarm bell, where it can turn on up to 200 genes that are responsible for cell repair, detoxification of carcinogens, protein and lipid metabolism, antioxidant protection, and other actions. In their report, that scientists called it a longevity assurance factor. Guys, you do not have to be a scientist or a rocket scientist to understand that those are all really super beneficial processes to be happening in the body, and you can achieve it with herbs. This is what Washington State University says. They say that Nrf2 may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and most extraordinary preventive breakthrough in the history of medicine. And what this means is that for some people, they look at this product and they say, well, I'm already old and I'm already, ill. I'm probably too late. It's too late for me, right? No. This right here is saying that it may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic breakthrough in the history of medicine. Conversely, some people, maybe on the younger spectrum, people are super healthy. That's where I was. When this came to me, I was 26 years old. I was a Marine Corps officer. I was a former Division I soccer athlete. I didn't have any issues. I was as healthy as I thought I could ever be. But what this study says is that it may well also become the most extraordinary preventive breakthrough in the history of medicine. And I'm all about prevention because prevention is a lot less expensive than trying to fix your issues later. And it also is just a healthier way to live. So,
Sam, I would love for you to kind of go into it, because when we saw all these studies that were done, one of them was Biogen, and Biogen is a pharmaceutical company. And I think what's really important to understand is Nrf2 was discovered, so to speak, in 1999. And so since then, people have been trying to activate this Nrf2 pathway in our body. So you may start to see some other things out there that will say Nrf2. So I would love for you to kind of go into that a little bit, because I think it's fascinating that they're not all equal. And that in fact, that even pharmaceutical companies are trying to activate this pathway and are doing it synthetically or forcing a process onto the body. And, one of those studies that was published actually took this little yellow pill, this natural herb, to compare it with their $50,000 a year drug, Nrf2 drug that is specifically prescribed for muscular sclerosis. And when they compared the two, they had to publish in their own $5 million study that this little natural pill was 2.5 times more effective at getting to the root cause of this issue than their own thing. And of course, there's no bad side effects, because it's the side effects of healing are better sleep, more energy, better vision. We're always surprised. Whereas when it's a synthetic forced process on the body, you are maybe helping one area while causing problems in another area. So I think that's really, to me, that was really fascinating.
Yes, let me go ahead and cover that. You know what? I'm not sure if I have that exact slide, but I do have the study, and I was going to see if I'm sorry, I thought I had it on here, but I'm actually going to see if I can pull it up as I'm talking about it. So basically, as Andrea said, it's not much like the independent research that was done with Protandim from those places like LSU and Harvard and Texas Tech. It's very, very unheard of that a pharmaceutical company would even take the time and money to compare their product with any herbal products. And so the study that Andrea is referencing is from a company called Biogen, and it is a major pharmaceutical company, one of the top 10s, and it's one of the leaders in a drug for multiple sclerosis. And so people with MS, you know, they have an issue where their myelin sheaths break down and they're not working properly and they're not connecting properly. And what they found was that if you could activate Nrf2, that process could actually be repaired. And so when Biogen developed their own Nrf2 activating drug, pharmaceutical drug, it's called Tecfidera. As Andrea said, it's $50,000 per year. And it comes with, you know, the normal side effects that all pharmaceutical drugs come with. They compared in a study that they funded and had done independently out of the Netherlands, Protandim, the herbal Nrf2 activator, with Tecfidera, their drug that activates Nrf2, and two other, you know, known compounds that can activate Nrf2. One of them being sulforaphane, which is broccoli. And broccoli, you know, can activate Nrf2 the same way red wine can activate Nrf2. Now, don't take that as permission to go drink a ton of red wine tonight. But what I'm saying is that there are lots of compounds that we know that do activate the Nrf2 process. The question is, which ones are the most effective? Because it doesn't matter if it activates it a little bit. You need it to be activated properly and continuously for the benefit. And so what the study showed was that while each of those compounds, the pharmaceutical drug, the sulforaphane from broccoli, and Protandim, they said they all induce Nrf2. They all activate this pathway. But interestingly, the conclusion of the study, I'm actually reading it here because I don't know if I can pull it up or not. I can definitely pull it up by the end of the presentation. It says that interestingly, Protandim, a dietary supplement consisting of herbal ingredients, was the most potent inducer of Nrf2, and therefore may be the most suited as a therapeutic strategy. And of course, they're talking about with regard to MS specifically. But that is just so significant when you look into the study. And if anybody would like to look at the full data on that study, we can send it to you. Again, it's at PubMed. It actually shows the effectiveness of Protandim is not just a little bit better than their $50,000 drug. It's actually twice as effective. So guys, what we're talking about here is herbs, again, what God gave us combined with real science and having such a profound effect in our body. Now, you don't have to have MS to take this product. Again, this is generally for prevention. But just like Washington State University said, it's also going to be a huge breakthrough for therapeutic strategies. So I just love that. I just think that's such a win for the herbal crowd and not for the side of pharma. So, and I know this crowd is very much trying to distance themselves from anything synthetic and pharmaceutical. So sorry I didn't have that study up here, but I'll definitely get it by the end of the presentation. So moving on, I just wanted to share with you guys, if you were to go to Andrea's website and see what LifeVantage has to offer right now, you would see a few different categories of products, but they're all surrounding this concept of activating your own body and activating your Nrf2 specifically in different areas of the body. So we have activation for the cells and gut. That's like the whole, you know, I call that like the insurance plan package. That's what we call a vitality stack. It's got your activator. It's got the best probiotic and omega fish oil on the planet. The thing about probiotics real quick is that they're not all created equal. So I know so many people who were paying top dollar for what they thought was the best probiotics, and they were drinking their kombucha and they were doing all this stuff. But the most important thing is the delivery system, getting that good bacteria all the way to your intestines. And most probiotics on the market, I hate to tell you this, never make it past the stomach acid. They just dwindle out because the stomach just eats it alive. Our probiotic is formulated with a technology called BioTract. And so it actually comes in a little sphere, they're a little sphere shape, and it has a coating that allows a slow release through your stomach and into the small and large intestines. So ours is proven to reduce or to actually get 60% of that good bacteria to your intestines, whereas most on the market get 4%. So you notice that effectiveness. Most people notice the effectiveness of our probiotic very quickly. I'll just kind of leave it at that. And the omega is important because a lot of people understand the significance of fish oil and how beneficial it is. And most of us do not eat enough wild caught fish to get the proper source of omegas. But ours is actually traceable from, if you could take the bottle of our omega fish oil and you can trace it online to the boat that caught the fish. And our oil is extracted right there off of the coast of Alaska and Norway where it's caught. And they extract the oil immediately, so it's so fresh. So actually our kids, we have to keep the bottle away from them because they pop them like candy. They taste so good. They're so fresh. And they have lemon oil, essential oil in there as well. So they taste really delicious and they're so, so good for you. So anyway, that's just really exciting. That is for the cells in the gut. And then also interesting was that people started giving their little yellow pill Protandim to their dogs because they realized, wow, if I'm having such good results, if I'm feeling young again, if I'm feeling less aches and pains, maybe my dog who's old and can't jump up on the couch anymore would benefit. And they started just seeing so many results with their dogs just turning into puppies again. And just the thing about animals that's so cool is they do not experience placebo effect. So you can't just ask your pup like, hey, do you feel better? And they say, yeah, thanks for giving me that little yellow pill. That you just notice it. You know they are feeling better by the way they're acting. And so they had an overwhelming response with that. So they decided to make a chewable version for a pet. It's literally the same 5 herbs. It's the same Nrf2 activator of Protandim, but for your dogs. And I love that because I know some of us love our dogs so much that we would actually take them to the vet before, getting our own health in check. So for the brain, we have activation for the brain, and this is Axio, and I love Axio so much, I'm even drinking it right now. The cool thing is that there's caffeinated and decaf, but even the caffeinated is only 100 milligrams. This is not a drink that is supposed to hype you up. It's not about that. It's about flipping the switch in your brain. It's a nootropic, and it's a natural nootropic. So again, it's herbs, natural compounds. It is a Nrf2 activator that flips that switch and allows you to have that clarity, that focus. I'm pregnant currently with my 5th baby, and when people talk about mom brain, I cannot commiserate. Like, since being activated, and specifically with Axio, it doesn't exist. Your fogginess is just not there. You have that clarity. You have physical and mental energy. No crashes, no jitteriness. I've actually found that even though I used to love drinking strong black coffee, I can't anymore compared to this. This gives me such a stable, good, just overall feeling. Whereas coffee, I now notice sort of like the high and the low. And so I know a lot of coffee drinkers are skeptical. I'm not trying to take people off of coffee. It just sometimes happens when you realize that your body actually doesn't need a stimulant. It just needs to function the way that it can, and it's designed to. And then activation for your skin, scalp, and hair. Now, this is something that's interesting because we are a science company. We started as a biotech company. We're very, very in tune with science and things that are so critical for the body. We don't like to do just random, other products that we can hop onto. So this also kind of came out organically because one of the studies that I was telling you about from LSU was with regard to melanoma. And when they of course they did it in lab rats, and they found such a dramatic reduction with Protandim in the melanoma occurrence, and then also the multiplicity of melanoma. It was so dramatically lowered with Protandim that they prompted LifeVantage to develop a topical version of Protandim. So they took the 5 herbs of Protandim and they put it into a skincare. And now we have a full skincare line, cleanser, an eye serum, and a perfecting lotion and a cream that is amazing. It has so many wonderful benefits. It's the cleanest skincare that you could possibly get on the entire market. Same with the hair care. What you put in your scalp, you guys, gets absorbed 60 times faster than anything else on your body. So it matters what you're actually putting into your scalp and onto your skin. And this is a Nrf2 activator for the cells of your skin. The Nrf2 protein exists in every cell of your skin. So the same repair that's happening internally from the inside out with Protandim is now happening topically from the outside in. And it's really incredible to see just some of the benefits. Long-term benefits like healthier, glowing skin, reduction of fine lines and things like that. But I love it, especially in these summer months. You know how a lot of people, after they get burned, they use things like aloe with vitamin E. Well, vitamin E is one of those direct antioxidants like we talked about. So think about the effectiveness when you go from that 1-to-1 strategy with the antioxidants to 1,000,000-to-1 effectiveness. That's why True Science is so effective at repairing the skin naturally, and in a much quicker time frame. So if you want to see some cool pictures before and afters and stuff, ask Andrea about that. It's pretty just amazing for the whole body. And I could keep going on and on about that, but just check it out if you're interested and you want to get back with Andrea about that. So the last thing that we're going to just talk about briefly, guys, are the two other activators. What LifeVantage has constantly been realizing through their research and development is that, you know, if there's this Nrf2 pathway, which we call the master regulator of the body, and it's responsible specifically for things like detoxification of our genes and turning on these antioxidant enzymes. It basically makes our body an antioxidant factory. Then maybe there are other pathways in the body that are responsible for other specific functions. So Nrf1, the Nrf1 pathway, is specifically responsible for repairing and restoring our mitochondria. So that is, when you think about 8th grade biology, that's the powerhouse of every single cell in your body. And it's important for your metabolism. It's important for your brain function, for your sleep quality, all of these things. So LifeVantage found that when they compiled, again, a few herbs and natural compounds, alpha lipoic acid, coenzyme Q10, grape extract, quercetin, and acetyl-carnitine, they found that that synergy allowed the Nrf1 pathway to be activated. And now our mitochondria is actually being repaired, and you're now producing more healthy mitochondria, which gives your entire body's source of energy just its best, its most power. So it supports cognitive and brain health and a healthy circulatory and cardiovascular system. So really together, Protandim Nrf2 and Nrf1 are like that 1-2 punch. If you take that vitality stack, those are the two activators that are in that with the probiotic and omega. And my husband and I have been taking that every day, again, just for prevention. We don't have like any issues for the past 3 years. And I call it the superhuman stack. I mean, it's like we're unfazed by things. Things are able to just not bring us down. You know, we never get to that full depletion mode, even long days, long hours, 4 kids, we homeschool, military deployments, like all these things.
Expecting.
Yeah. Expecting my 5th. It's just like, we're kind of like the Energizer Bunny, but not in a stimulant way. Just like our body is functioning the way it's supposed to. It's like a well-oiled machine. So this is kind of like taking care of the engine of your car preventively, and you notice your car actually runs better as well. So the third activator is the NAD Synergizer. And many of you guys are familiar with the whole concept right now of caloric restriction and intermittent fasting. And there's so many health benefits. It's not just about weight loss. The health benefits with intermittent fasting and caloric restriction is the intention of it actually is to increase what's called sirtuins in your body. And these are basically the agents in our body that help you to repair your DNA. Because what happens, there's like a cascading effect when the toxins enter your body. The oxidative stress increases, your mitochondria depletes, your sirtuin production depletes, and now it's actually making your DNA worse, and DNA replicates. So if it gets worse and it's replicating poorly, you're headed for a downward spiral. But what we know through intermittent fasting and caloric restriction is you can actually reverse that. And caloric restriction has been shown to have a 94% like effectiveness, like at increasing those sirtuins. But with Protandim NAD Synergizer, which again, for just basic herbs and compounds, you now can have 100% effectiveness in 24 hours. So one of those NAD products or activators, you're going to now have 100% effectiveness, and you don't have to do the intermittent fasting, which hats off to you. I'm not saying don't do intermittent fasting if you like to do that, but for some people, it's a very difficult thing to achieve on a regular basis with just the lifestyles that we have. And for some people, it can lead to just, you know, an unstable diet if they don't know how to do it properly. So just to be able to get that effectiveness from these natural herbs and compounds, again, you're just flipping the switch. So then the final thing is that they really were so blown away when they put these three together and then evaluated again in the blood and understood what was the empirical data saying. Like, what we can understand, we feel really great, but what's happening internally? And this is what they found. When they put all three of those Protandim activators together, there was a complete synergistic effect. And so every single one of those markers went way up. So before, when you were just taking Protandim Nrf2 alone and getting that 40% reduction in oxidative stress, now you're getting a 78% reduction in that oxidative stress. The glutathione and the inflammatory response is now increasing the effectiveness. Before it was, maybe 50%, and now you're getting a like 1,500% difference there increase, and now it's 848% more production of that inflammatory response system in our body. Same thing with the Nrf1. They just realized, wow, the ability to repair the mitochondria had an increase in effectiveness when all three of them came together. When they saw the NAD response, they said, wow, the sirtuin production and the activation of that NAD was actually more effective when all three were used together. So what does this mean? Okay, it means that if at the very least, all you do is you activate that one process, that Nrf2 pathway with that one little yellow pill a day, $50 a month, you're gonna have the single greatest effect on your overall health of any other single measure, because we know 40% reduction in 30 days. There's nothing else that is proven to do something that significant for your overall health. If you want to up the ante on your, your entire body, your entire system, and you want to have an increase of effectiveness on that, maybe you're a little bit older in age, or maybe you just feel like, no, I feel more worn down or more overcome by the issues in my body, you might want to look at that Tri-Synergizer, because that is going to allow your body to have such an increased effectiveness. I also love that Vitality Stack, where you're taking care of your gut health with the probiotic and you're having the best source of high quality omega fish oil. Those are my best recommendations, but also if you just want to get back with Andrea and ask her, like, what is she using? What is her whole family using? I think she'll tell you the same thing. Like, at the end of the day, Protandim Nrf2 is the single most important thing. We choose to give it to our children as a preventive measure. As representatives of LifeVantage, officially, we would say it's not intended for kids, but we like to encourage people to be advocates for their own health. It's also not intended for pregnant women. But again, I always love to encourage people to take a look at what's in it. 5 basic herbs, each at very, very low dosages individually. They come together with an incredible synergy, and they reduce a significant amount of stress on your body. Do you think that's a good thing for you, whether you're pregnant, not pregnant, whether whether you're a child, whether you're an adult? We have decided that it is, and we just hope that we've given you guys enough information to either ask more questions or just maybe decide to get started with it. But Andrea, I think that's really like where we should leave it, and see if anybody has any questions. Yeah.
And something I would like to say, guys, like, when you walk around today, what is the feeling in the air? When you go to the grocery store, people are afraid. Can you imagine if people were empowered with the knowledge that we just heard tonight? I mean, I'm still like blown away. And I tell you, we have not been sick. We're strong. I don't sleep very well. I've got 6 kids. I've got 6 puppies. I've got a business I'm running. And I'm telling you what, I've got so much energy. And another thing, if you're empowered with this knowledge from day one of whatever's going on in the world today, guys, we have not been fearful for 1 second. Not fearful for 1 second, because if you understand the incredible body that God created for us, and then we discovered these ways that, when things would get as bad as they do with all the toxins Sam was talking about in the beginning of this presentation, they're very much designed. I think a lot of people know on this call tonight, it's done intentionally. It's meant to weigh and bog us down. And that's why we feel like when you have this information, you feel like you have the moral obligation to share it with people, because you won't experience fear. It's meant for our time. It's like a God gift. like in this time you will find these combination of herbs, and it's going to do this amazing thing in the body. So yeah, let us know if you have any questions. If you guys feel like, wow, and you want to learn how to share this with others, that's a very simple process. I think once you know about something like this, you want to share it with your mom, your dad, your cousin, your friend, your colleague. So let us know. That's a very, very easy process. And Sam and I can talk to you about that. But we have 2 questions, Sam, and I would just like to answer those super quick.
Yeah.
And they both have to do with pregnancy. So one question was, did I take it while pregnant? And the answer is yes, absolutely. Because, you know, here my body is with the 6th pregnancy was the first one that I was activated on. And I'm telling you what, after 5 pregnancies, my body was really wearing down. With my 5th child, I would say, like I was really starting to get the aches and pains and moodiness during the pregnancy, and it was really starting to get pretty ugly. And so I took it with this one without even thinking, just knowing like, this is my body being turned on, and my body knows that I'm pregnant. My body knows exactly what's going on, and the body is so selfless that it always puts the baby first, always puts the babies first. And so when it's activated, it's ridding my body of those free radicals that are going to be harmful for the baby in utero. So I definitely took it, and I felt amazing. I can talk to you privately about my birth story with Romy. And then
Andrea,
actually,
can I just chime in real quick on that one too?
yes, please.
So we have a ton of moms that we have helped, you know, with this before, during, and after pregnancy. And even on our own team, we've a ton of moms, and a lot of moms with multiple births. Even in my own family, my sister has 6 kids. And the thing about this is so many people will stop and say, I shouldn't take it, right, when I'm pregnant. And one thing I would say is, I don't think you should do anything for your body that you wouldn't also do while you're pregnant. Like, only do what's good, what you believe is good at all times. And even more so, if you believe that reducing toxic load in your body is good for you as a regular person, then why on earth, as somebody growing a baby inside, would you not want an environment of less stress, less inflammation? You know, that's how I kind of look at it. And the results that we have seen, not only from our team and our family, have been over and over again. Moms are so grateful for the way they feel throughout their pregnancy. Again, the fog is lifted, the energy is good, the recovery is quick. Milk production has been better. In fact, we have dairy farmers that use this with their cows, and the milk production is amazing. The babies are healthy. The babies come out so clear and focused. Now, we're not making claims. Maybe it's all coincidence, but all we know is that we have a test sample of multiple births where the babies who were activated babies are just, you know, their APGAR scores are off the charts. They're very focused right out of the womb. My sister, who had her 6th baby, her 5th pregnancy, she had all C-sections. So she's had 5 C-sections. She had twins first, so that's why she has 5 pregnancies. And so her 6th baby was the only one that she was activated with Protandim before, during, and after. And before she got activated, she had so much scar tissue built up from the previous 4, you know, C-sections, that they really thought that if she delivered another one, it would be a total emergency situation. There was such a great amount of scar tissue. But when she was activated for about a year before having her 6th baby. And when they went in, they did a special ultrasound because they considered her high risk with all that scar tissue. They went in to do an ultrasound while she was pregnant with her 6th, and they couldn't find an ounce of scar tissue internally or externally. And there's no scar tissue there in her body where her incisions were. And the reason, again, I love the scientific validation of why that's happening. It's not just a story, is because we know that Protandim activates the anti-fibrotic genes in your body. And fibrosis is the scar tissue effect. And so when you break down the scarring effect and the fibrosis in the body, it allows your body to break down scar tissue naturally. So I just love that it's a natural process of allowing your body to repair itself and give you and your baby and your whole family a better benefit.
Cool. We have a couple more questions, and I'll do one is in line with this, because Roanne is saying, doesn't milk thistle, isn't it responsible for uterine contraction? So what is the difference between taking milk thistle alone and then milk thistle in the synergy of Protandim?
So it's a good question, Roanne. So when you see, you know, studies or like any of those cautions about certain herbs and what they might do, the dosages of those is much higher than what you're going to find in Protandim. And that's what's so awesome about Protandim. It is such a small amount. If you look at the individual ingredients of Protandim, the actual concentration of each one of the herbs is so low. It's what they come together to do on you know, in synergy together that makes them so effective. So what you're seeing from maybe other studies or from what other people have said about what milk thistle typically does, they're using models with a much higher concentration of milk thistle. And also, when your body is Nrf2 activated, it's a whole different ballgame, because a regular response that you might see from just inducing or injecting or supplementing with one product, you're kind of forcing a process. Nrf2 basically is like a thermostat in your body, and Nrf2 senses where it needs to turn things up over here, turn things down over here. So it basically allows for homeostasis in your body. So the Nrf2 activation basically takes care of all of those any other maybe issues that you would know with individual ingredients. So it's really about the activation and the synergy together.
Sam, Jeff is wondering about the shelf life
of Protandim. I think it's about 3 years. Don't quote me on that. I don't have a bottle on me, but I think it's 3 years.
Cool. And then I'm just trying to think, Martika, my friend, is asking about the thyroid. And, you know, it's really touchy here, Martika, because the FDA, and we all are starting to see what's going on here. The only thing they want to cure anything is a pharmaceutical drug. Pharmaceutical drugs do not cure people. They create customers for life. So it's a horrible, vicious cycle. And you are not meant to be healthy. So when you say thyroid, and I'm assuming maybe you're talking about yourself, I'm shocked that people as young as us are having these issues. It is wrong. It's a disaster, and it's a result of these toxins. It's a result of oxidative stress in our body and not having that homeostasis. So we are not allowed to say that it helps with this disease or that disease. So we have to be very quiet and careful. And that's why Sam is saying go to pubmed.gov, because that's the national database of scientific and medical research. And so what we recommend for people to do is, you know, type in these issues and then type in oxidative stress and, you know, maybe see what comes up. And you'll find that it just about every single issue, oxidative stress is the root cause. And so when you can get rid of that oxidative stress and get the body to reach that homeostasis, the result of that is healing. And, you know, and again, we give this to people, and I've had the privilege to do this for 18 months now. You give it to someone, and like Sam said, it has the empirical data, so we know what it's going to do, but also we don't in the way that we're just as surprised as someone else when they're like, guys, my vision. We're like, we don't know what someone's body's going to do when it reaches this homeostasis, when it gets health. Or I've had people come back to me and say, hey, I'm not lactose intolerant anymore, neither is my husband. And we're just like, okay, that's really cool. You know, like, I guess that's your body being healthy. And those are just side effects of being healthy. And I think what's so devastating today, because if I look at myself 3-4 years ago, I used to think everyone was pretty much healthy unless they physically had something wrong with them. Like they were obese, or they were limping, or they had a severe case of muscular sclerosis, right? Then I was like, oh, they're clearly not well. But I just assumed everybody else was well. After the stories I've heard today, from starting to this day, I'm of the opposite opinion. I believe everybody is sick. And I believe that, and I don't mean this fear mongering. I mean in a very real way, everybody is sick. And if you're not sick, something's brewing inside you, because that's what we're up against today. That's exactly what we're up against today. So this, to me, again, is like a God gift for our time. And so we feel so empowered to bring it to you guys. I don't think there's any more. Okay, Martika is asking about Hashimoto's. Went all the way. Hashimoto's. Okay, she's talking about Hashimoto's. And yeah, you know, again, we're not allowed to name these things, but we've seen it all.
Yeah. Honestly, and maybe guys, in a more private conversation, it's a shame. I'll be very honest. I think it's a shame that we kind of can't share openly the experiences that we've had with people, the truthful, honest stories. But it is just the environment that we live in. The FDA rules, and it's really like, if any herbal product even implies or hints that they are stopping people from medications or anything, it really puts a company like LifeVantage in jeopardy. So we're just not willing to go down that road publicly with stories of what we've experienced. But you name it, we've seen it. It's been a blessing. We say that this is not a miracle pill, but God gave us a miracle body, and we're literally just flipping the switch back on for that miracle body that has been sadly overrun by this toxic fake world that we've designed. You know, I don't think any of us are really going to go back to a pre-industrial era. It's very hard to ever go back now that we've opened this can of worms. We're only going to keep adding more technology, as much as a lot of us probably wouldn't like to. I think a lot of us are very like-minded and would love to go live off the land, but we can't reverse it. So that's why Andrea says that she believes it's God's gift for our time, because it's our natural solution to help our bodies overcome this world that we can't escape. So yeah, we love the questions. We really appreciate everything that you guys have asked, and just for your participation and just for being here with us on a Friday night. And it means so much, and it says a lot about you guys seeking the truth in all areas of life. So thanks, Andrea.
Thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone on this call. And I hope this information just empowers you to just not be afraid, not be fearful.
Nope. Faith over fear. That's our team. We're Team Fearless. We really believe choose faith over fear and everything. So thank you. Thanks so much, Andrea. Have a wonderful night, everybody.
Thank you, Sam. Good night, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye. God bless.